You're now listening to the Shoot for Teams podcast with your favorite guys, Dorian and Kyle. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our newly branded podcast. We are no longer the Hardwood brand podcast. We are now the Shoot for Teams podcast. And we are, of course, presented by the Hardwood brand. My name is D. Hill, the gift card bandit.
Old man Ross, nothing has changed. Sweatsuits and fly kicks.
Yeah, so with this new podcast, we are having guests on, and our first guest is our guy, Ashanti Cook. He is the Inglewood native who started for arguably one of the greatest high school teams, the Westchester Comets. Because of his stellar point guard play, he gained a full athletic scholarship to Georgetown University, where he was a 3-year starter for the Hoyas from 03 to 06. After his career with the Hoyas was over, he took his talents to Europe, where he played for 7 seasons, spending time in Germany, then coming back to the USA, playing in the CBA for the then NBA D League, not G League, the D League, Mexico and Macedonia. While continuing to follow his basketball dream, in 2010, Ashanti got bit by the acting bug. He got his first big break when he booked his first national commercial for Pepsi. But then, once his jumper stopped falling, he turned his attention to acting. He has since booked several national commercials, and you may have seen him in AMC's series Better Call Saul. Welcome to the podcast, Ashanti. Thanks for being with us, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate this.
Yeah, so, man. Ashanti, let me ask you, when did you fall in love with basketball?
I had to be around like the age of like 8. My grandma and my moms were like big, like, well, my grandmother mostly was a big Laker fan. So like the 80s, you know, like Kareem and Magic, the Showtime Lakers and stuff. So that would always be on in the background. But I really probably started falling in love with the hoops was like the 90s, like when MJ came in, like he started being like 89, 90, like when he was right on the cusp of like eventually getting over that hurdle of the Pistons.
Yeah.
And my mom is from Chicago, so she like always had Bulls games on. So like we was watching WGN and she taped the games, and like I'm talking about like the Bulls could be playing the Kings and she's watching it, you know what I'm saying? So
didn't matter, huh?
It didn't matter. She just was like a Bulls and a Michael Jordan fan, and just loved the team. So like it kind of like just spilled over to me and my brother. And so yeah, like watching Mike, he do something, I immediately go in the backyard and try and emulate that joint, you know?
Right.
So
right.
That's mostly where like my love for the game came from.
Okay.
So you, I guess, you know, it happens for all of us. You know, we saw Mike and Magic back in the 80s, 90s, and, you know, we go outside, maybe you had like a little mini court, or you had like a 10-foot or something. But like, when did you first start playing organized basketball?
I started playing at like 10 at the Inglewood Y. I'll go over to Inglewood Y. My parents put me at the Inglewood Y, and I was playing at the Inglewood Y, you know, like the little purple jerseys or whatever.
Yeah, you played there?
Yeah,
all of us.
Yeah, you played at the Inglewood Y. So I played at the
Inglewood
Y for a couple of years, and then I started, like, one of the coaches, his name was Kevin Bell, one year that I played there. And he was also coaching for an AAU team called VBA. Values for Better America, before it became TPI. So I went and played for his AAU program, and just saw like how cool it was, just meeting just different people from different areas and playing against other competition. And then I started playing with ARC after I left VBA, and then we started going to the nationals, the AAU nationals, and like playing all the little national regional tournaments and stuff. And so from then on, like maybe 11 on, it was just like tournaments year round, summertime, like spring, like really no time for nothing else but other than just school. Like I tried to play other sports, but like they didn't, you know, have the same feel that I got from like touching the rock. Like I played baseball for 2 years, and it was fun, but it was boring at the same time. It wasn't fast-paced, and I missed like the friends I made from, you know, basketball and stuff. So yeah, from like 11 on, it was just like nonstop, like just AAU tournaments throughout the summer, spring, fall, whenever you name it. I was always playing.
That's crazy. We all played at Inglewood Y with What, Mike Solomon was at
Yeah.
Mike. We all played there.
Like,
So transitioning from organized ball, and then you mentioned playing like AAU. Why Westchester High School? Why'd you pick that one opposed to Crenshaw, Inglewood, anybody else?
well, it was like it was.
You can be honest.
Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna go to Inglewood, and I wasn't gonna go to Morningside because
Okay.
you know what that looks like. So,
Yeah.
Exactly.
but originally I was supposed to. My parents wanted me to either go to Campbell Hall or Crossroads, so that put me on like the
Nice.
wait list for there, and I didn't get in or whatever. And the next one was Westchester, and like luckily my mom had started working at Loyola Village as a teacher, so it was like right down the street. She could drop me off, you know. And we went and watched them play one time, and I think they were playing against Manual Arts at the house. And this is like James Wright with Mook and Curtis Miller, and like they had another cat. I don't remember his name, but they had a squad though, and this was what the Westchester team was like: Tony Bland, CJ, Brandon Granville, David Blumenthal, Chris Osborne, like those.
They had a squad.
Yeah, I think they won. Wow. They won state that year. Westchester did, but just like the energy that was going on during that game, and I was like, "Yo, hey, these cats can hoop!" Like they were getting busy, and then even Westchester's like JV team had like Samaje and a couple of other guys that ended up playing on a varsity team, but they were good too. So I was like, I like the little energy here, you know, like it's cool, yeah. So that's how I ended up going to Westchester, and then I knew Brandon Heath and Keith Everidge, Jason McKinney too, just from like AAU basketball, and honestly, I didn't even know they were going there until I saw them on campus. I know you guys. Like, hey, what's going on? So that was like kind of cool to have like some friendly faces that I remember from my youth to be there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
So talk about those crazy teams that you played on in high school. I mean, you guys were loaded. I mean, I know we just talked about the teams that got you there, but you were a part of some great Westchester teams as well. Like you guys won 3 national championships. Is that right?
I mean, no, we didn't win 3 national championships. That's been very generous of you. I appreciate it. But we won. When I was there, we won 3 city titles and 1 state title.
There you go.
Yeah, 3 city titles and 1 state title. So, but yeah, those Westchester teams were loaded. Like even my freshman year, that team was like really good. I mean, I played JV my freshman year. Coach Sam doesn't believe in like letting JV play varsity. And I was a nobody, so like, you know, I didn't have a name or anything like that. But yeah, just that whole program just like kind of took off, like from the 98 on until it had a nice run to like 2012, 13, you know, like it was kind of dominating it. Like our I mean, I want to toot my own horn, but like I'd probably say my sophomore year probably kickstarted like the whole boom of like the Westchester program, you know, like made it really like nationally like recognized. Like I remember our junior, sophomore year we won city, and then junior year like we were subbing 5 in, 5 out, like it was like a hockey rotation.
It was. I remember that. Like a platoon.
It was like, all right, y'all got the first quarter, the second quarter is y'all. Okay, third quarter we back to this, and then fourth quarter, last couple minutes, who's ever rolling. Hey, this is who it's gonna be, you know. Like, we were subbing like a hockey rotation. It was 5 in, 5 out, man. I think we had probably 14, 15 guys go D1 from those.
Wow.
Like good like Division I schools like Kent State, Fullerton, Arizona, Georgetown, San Diego State, Nevada. Like cats was like Coach Zell was putting them out, you know, like and it was just crazy. It was crazy competitive. Nobody really had egos. And we just had good camaraderie amongst each other. Like we all generally like liked each other, like and hung out with each other off the court. And it was like definitely a crazy experience, man. Just like traveling and being exposed to just different like tournaments. And you're like, we went to New Jersey one time just to play a game. It was like a showcase. We just flew out, boom, played the game, and like you go in there, you see the NBA scouts, Melo and them just played before us. Like it was nuts, man. It was super nuts. Like, you get the whole like Nike gear package. They're like, oh, you gotta wear these shoes for one game. You're like, all right, cool. Like, it was just a crazy experience. But like forever grateful. And just Coach Azam himself was able to keep everybody very humble. He was like, you talk about a person, a good manager, egos. Like he was able to keep everybody in check, like their egos, and still like instilling like the values of hard work and like and keeping us on our toes and accountable for our actions. So like everybody wanted each other to do well, and that's very rare. You find that. So
Yeah, it is very rare, but you could also see that on the court. Like when I hear players talk about like their teammates genuinely like each other, they hang out off the court. You can see that on the court, and most of the times they're like successful and they
right.
play well. I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that you guys were so close off the court.
Yeah, we would do like pre-game meals with each other. Just go like down the street to get a cafe, go to a cafe and like eat before games. Like I said, we go to parties and stuff like that together, or hang out at each other's houses. Like it was real like family. Like, I still talk to like a majority of those guys still to this day. So yeah, it's very rare that you come across that type of chemistry, especially in high school.
For sure, for sure.
Speaking of parties, real quick, I think I was younger, but I snuck in the party and I saw a lot of you guys, Nautica jackets, Tommy Hilfiger jacket. I mean, you guys were fitted. That's Westchester was known for outfits. You know what I mean?
That is a
and y'all were
fact.
just in your own little area with all the ladies
And the pretty
I
girl.
yeah, I didn't get any rhythm at all. But I just want you to know when you said parties, I think I snuck into one. I was a little younger with some friends, and I think we came from Laces or whatever. We were at Hamilton and didn't get any action. But, I learned, I was like, man, them dudes, they doing something right. We got to figure it out. But Westchester, during that time, like Dorian was saying, you guys were like rock stars and superstars. Everybody was trying to go to the games.
Right.
And we saw at one point, I think Dorian and I, we watched a documentary or a show, and Darius and Quentin were going to your games, and they say that they stole the infamous fist bump, knucklehead bump from you guys. Is that true?
That is true, man. Bottoms and Brandon Heath and Hassan Adams were the first two people I saw do it.
Okay.
And but they got like a close relationship with those Clipper guys, with Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson.
Okay.
And they developed a pretty good friendship with them. And so it was basically like they would do it, and it was like a nod to like us, like to them, to Brandon and Hassan. But yeah, Brandon and Hassan would be hanging out with Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson like quite a bit, off the court, and, just like little bro, big bro type stuff, But yeah, D Miles, he practiced with us a couple times, and like to see him practice at that age, he was just like 19, but just to see how he moved at 6'9", you just like, whoa, like. All right, I get why you're in the league and you came out of high school, just because like it was just everything was smooth. He was hella athletic, and he was like kind of sharp. He was like a step ahead of like everybody. And we're 17, 16, like you're not that far in age, but you just saw the difference in like why he's an NBA player and we're still in high school. So it's like if you go to college, he's gonna destroy these guys. Like it's different, like just different. I remember one time he blocked a shot, pinned it, grabbed it, took it 2 dribbles down, and just what Giannis does now, dunk it. That's the same thing he did, like in 2 dribbles. It's like, boom, and now we throw out, I'm 1-2, boom. I was like, holy smokes, like, yeah. So
was that the first NBA caliber player you had seen on that level, or practice with or play with?
Practice with, yes, but I mean, I played like against NBA players too, because Marlon, Coach Marlon, one of the assistants at Westchester, he put our high school team in the Drew League when it used to be up at what's the middle school that it was at
Um,
before it was at?
uh,
Come on, man. We're
a
supposed to
little
know this
small gym,
stuff.
right?
It was a
Yeah.
small gym. It was a middle school, so they had the middle
Yeah.
school. I don't remember the name of the middle school, but it was a middle school that used to be at the Drew. But he put us in that joint going into my junior year. So he put the whole Westchester team in there, and he was like, "Yo, like these summer league games basically were just like too easy for us or whatever. We were blowing people out. We weren't really getting better. So he put us in that, and we play every Saturday, like against like Barron, Chris Young, like Milton Palacio, like a lot of
Palacio.
like, yeah, man, just like old school cats that would come and play, or guys that were still in the NBA that would play. And so like you kind of got better, you know, because you learn little tips or tricks, and they giving you like putting you up on games. So like us going into our junior year, like it's kind of a cakewalk, you know. Like,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I know we lost in the state playoff, but like it was like regular season and like playing is just was like it made it so much more easier for us from playing like other NBA competition during those summers. So it was cool. Yeah, it was cool.
That's dope, man. So like moving on, like we're going down your timeline. So what colleges like were you recruiting, and why did you select Georgetown?
So originally, I had signed to go to New Mexico to be a logo. Yeah, Fran Fraschilla was the head coach there, and he had recruited me since the beginning of like the recruiting process. So he was like very diligent and like phone calls, sending me letters, and like making sure like he wanted me at the program. And so I took a visit there, Oregon, and an unofficial to San Diego State. And then I had set one up to go to Wake Forest and Minnesota, but both got canceled because people ended up committing there before I could go. Uh, but but yeah, I signed in New Mexico originally because my dad was like, you always want to go where you're wanted. And
Hmm.
I mean, I know they had a good program. They have been to the tournament, the past couple years, and Fran Fraschilla is like a very historic coach, well known throughout the, NBA like ranks and stuff like that, well connected. And his team was good. His team was good. The Lobos teams were good. So went on my visit, enjoyed it. I went for the Midnight Madness, and it's kind of nuts. You're seeing like all these people with like Ashanti Cook signs and stuff like that, and they got jersey in like the little locker room. You like, yo,
Wow.
yeah. You like,
Wow.
damn, this is kind of nice. And put your face on the jumbotron, and people chanting your name like, we can't wait to see you next season. So just the atmosphere was crazy. And then plus Chad Bell, who went to Westchester as well, he was already there. And so I was like, all right, cool. That's a familiar face. And then they were going to try and get Scott Cutley to come there the next
Oh
year.
wow.
Yeah, so it was going to be three of us. And he ended up getting fired second half of the season. My senior year, he got fired. And so I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I had a meeting with like the new coach they hired, and he basically told me like, I don't know who you are. You probably won't play, but we're going to release you from your like letter of intent or whatever. So long story short, Georgetown reached out because my boy Brandon Bowman, who was on the team at Westchester, he was like caught wind that they were looking for another guard. Was like, yo, you might want to take a look. And Georgetown was recruiting me before. They had sent me letters and stuff, and it looked like everything shaped up on their guard end, but then something happened to their guard situation. So I went on a visit, and I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. Like DC, like is far from home, but at the same time, I wanted to experience something different.
Hmm.
Build a different network of people. And then also the education part of it is like Georgetown is like one of the most prestigious university in the country. And then just the history of basketball, I'm like, damn, you'll play in the Big East, you'll be on TV almost every night, and then like just look at all the lineage of players that's come out of there. Like you're talking Pat, Dikembe, AI, Reggie Williams, Sleepy Ford. You know, like it's a lot. Like a lot of cats. And then I'm not gonna lie, when I first went out there, I thought Georgetown was an all-black school. You know, like I was like, because you know, you see Big John Thompson.
Understandable.
See Big John Thompson. He got all black players. It's not a white player on his roster at all.
No, it's not. No,
Exactly.
it's not.
Exactly. And so I was like, all right, cool. That's like kind of a, all black school. I get on campus for that visit. I was like, dog, where are the black people? And my host, Tony Bethel, was like, yo, you met them all. I was like, wait, those are the football and track players. He was like, yes. I was like,
that's all you got.
That was it. It was like maybe 2-3% on the campus. And I'm seeing all these dudes with like the polos popped up. So it was a culture shock too, like it's going from Westchester, which was like 80% black, and you go see that, you're just like, you see these New Jersey like prep boys and like playing lacrosse, and like I'm like, what the hell is lacrosse? Like,
right.
So that was a culture shock in itself. But the biggest thing that like kind of like really sold me was just the education, the history, and then I sat and talked to Big John Thompson, and he pulled me into his office. So I heard you can kind of play a little bit, son, and I was just like sitting there, I'm just looking at him like, do you know who you are? You know what I'm saying? In my mind, I'm like, yo. So we talked for like 15 minutes. And then once I got home, I just made my decision. It was like, I'm going to do this. This is the smartest move, basketball wise and career wise, past basketball. So yeah.
Wow. So let me, I got a 2-part real quick about that. Cause you mentioned John Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any more conversations with him, like one-on-one, or did you learn anything from him? And then my second question would be, how was it with playing with Brandon? Did he make it easier for your experience being a freshman at Georgetown, knowing the campus and everything like that?
So talking to John Thompson, he was there every day when we was at practice. So yeah, you were able to pick his brain about anything, and it was a lot of times he would just call you over and sit and have you sit next to him, and he talked to you about the game of basketball, ask you like how school going, what you should be focusing on, life after basketball, make sure that you're like making the right connection with people, and like really staying focused and make sure you're representing yourself in the proper way, while you're going about off campus, like he's like, yeah, you're not only a representation of like the basketball program, but you're a representation of your family. So like, you don't want the Cook name to be like dragged in the mud and frowned upon. So he's like, just start thinking about things like that, about how you carry yourself. Like we always we had to wear suits, so we wore suits like to home games. So we wore suits always to home games. And he talked about it. Basically, it's just a representation. They didn't want like people to look at us just like, oh, there goes a black basketball team. Like, but we would always get asked questions like, oh, why you guys dress so nicely? Where you guys go? Oh, we play basketball. We're going to go to Syracuse and play on a game. So that's why we're hopping on the flight. And like, oh, you guys are so handsome. Like, it's totally different. Opposed like the track
sweatsuits.
Yeah, exactly. The tracks,
what everybody wears now, pretty much.
Exactly. So we were totally different. He was more so focused on like representation and like making sure that you're represented in the right light, especially as black men, as African American men too. So yeah. And then playing with Brandon, to answer to your second question, playing with Brandon. So Brandon and I, we went in together. So we were both freshmen, and it was super easy because I've known Brandon since I was 10. And I've known him for a very long time. We played AAU basketball together. Not in high school, we didn't play AAU, you end up being like an AAU whore, playing like all over the place, So, but yeah, we played high school together. So it made it such an easy transition because we were able to like help each other out, figure this whole freshman thing out, and just get acclimated to the whole like college experience. We were able to help each other out a lot. So he'd ask me questions, I'd ask him questions. I'd be like, yo, you need to be a little bit more aggressive. Coach is giving you this leeway. Like I think Brandon started his freshman year. Yeah, he did. He
Wow.
started his freshman year at Georgetown, and he was making a lot of noise. Like he was playing really, really, really well and got in the groove of things. So it was easy, and I was very happy for him to see his success too. But yeah, it just made it such an easier transition just to have a familiar face there. And he's a West Coast kid too, like we're both from the
Right.
West Coast going to the East Coast and just dealing with
Right.
that whole change of pace and the winters and all that type of
You can
stuff.
say it again. The winter alone.
Yeah. So it made it very much easy and more comfortable
Okay.
to be there with somebody that you knew.
Okay.
Nice.
So
So, like, staying with Georgetown, do you have any or can you let us know, like, one of your favorite moments or, like, your standout moments with your time at Georgetown?
Man, it was honestly it was a lot. I'm gonna give you two. One
Okay.
was the pickup games. So like in the summer, we had
Oh,
like great pickup games. Like I'm talking like a lot of players from like the Wizards, from Maryland, University of Maryland would come down, George Mason, uh, like other NBA guys that like, from the DC or DMV area would just come and play pickup. So I remember one day it was like Gilbert. Gilbert was there. Steve Francis was there.
oh,
that's trouble.
Sam Cassell was there.
That's
Uh,
trouble.
yeah,
Trouble.
man, yeah, that was a long day. Gilbert's out
Trouble.
there like low cut, like Adidas, like not even like the pro models, but like running shoes, and they're
Oh, he
not
was
really.
disrespectful.
Yeah, they weren't even laced up though. Like they weren't laced up. He's
oh,
just out there 1-2, 1-2, 3 ball, one back down, cross, layup, scoop. You just like, and Gilbert's. I didn't know he was that big.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was that big.
He's
So,
about 6'7", right?
nah, Gilbert's not that tall. He's like 6'3", but
Oh,
his
okay.
shoulder
Right.
like,
It's
Oh, he's
wide.
yeah, he's wide. He's probably like 205, close to close to bordering 210, and he's fast. So he's like, it sucks. He's almost like a LeBron James, but like for shorter guards. You know what I'm
wow.
saying? Like moving like
Yeah.
hella fast. So like, and he had good body control, and he could shoot. Like what Dame and them is doing now, that's what he was doing before.
Yeah.
Like pulling from half court, pulling from like the coach's line in the box or whatever. Like he was
Crazy.
doing that then. Like and honestly, this is an ode to Gilbert. Like he was one of my favorite guards. Like he's still one of my favorite guards. And I changed my number to 0 because of him. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, like I was like, yo, I don't want to wear 21 anymore. I'm gonna change it to 0 because Gilbert's my
Nice.
guy. Like, and he's still my favorite guard. He's my favorite guard. He's my favorite guard. He's my favorite guard of all time. Like Gilbert, yeah, that dude was nice, man. But yeah, Gilbert, Steve Francis. You talk about Steve Francis. Like this is Steve with like Katino Mobley, like live
Oh,
baseline to
yeah.
baseline. Yeah, exactly. But they were
More
playing.
trouble.
Yeah, they would play. They played pickup, and then one time Magic Johnson showed up and
You played
played.
with Magic?
Yeah, Magic came. He running the break and being the conductor that he is, and still was in good shape.
Wow.
But yeah, just those moments of playing pickup, and then I met AI. He came and played pickup one day too, so that was amazing to talk to him. But the second moment would had to be when I met Bill Russell. So
Wow.
one day we were getting ready for the Big East tournament, and we just finished practice, and Big John calls us, the whole team over, whatever. And Bill Russell was sitting there with them. First of all, they walked in and like we kind of all like looked like, oh shit, here comes coach, big coach, like slouching on in there. But then somebody else comes behind. I'm like, oh snaps, that's Bill Russell. Like
Yeah.
they just sitting there
That's
hanging out,
crazy. Wow.
chopped it up. And but after the practice was over, we sat down. Everybody sat down, took a knee, and Bill Russell talked to us for like 30 minutes, just like about
Wow.
life and basketball, and just like how it's much more than that. And, you got to prepare yourself for after the game, and just make sure you're taking care of everything. Like just kind of reinforcing that whole thing that we always hear cliche, like you got to have a plan B. Make sure you're doing things, because basketball does stop every once in a while. But to hear him like just speak about like things that he kind of went through too during like the 60s and stuff when he was playing. It was just like kind of like nuts. Like he he gave some examples and stuff, and it was just like, damn, yo, you're a legend. Like you're a true legend, man. Like, so that was dope. And it just kind of helped light a fire for us too, going into that tournament. So that was great. Yeah, that was absolutely great. I think that was the year we went to Sweet 16. So that was going into my senior year. Yeah, we had a nice little run that year.
That's dope. Wow, so back up a little bit. Talk about your sophomore year, because you became a starter,
right?
And then also, I guess it could be your junior year or senior year. Who was the hardest person you had to guard when you were in school, in college?
Oh, boy.
You mentioned Catino and Gilbert and all them in pickup, but we talking about actually
like in the Big East, bruh. Who was the hardest person to guard? So my sophomore year, I started, and then, man, who's
and how was that experience just as a starter? Because you didn't start your freshman year. I know you came off injury.
Yeah, it was very eye-opening because it's just like, all right, I'm playing starter minutes. I gotta run a team like
for Georgetown too.
Yeah, for Georgetown.
In the Big East.
It was a lot, man. I'm not even gonna lie. In the Big East, I was like, holy smokes. And then like we weren't really that good either. So like,
and you guys were playing. That was when the Big East was the Big East.
Big East, right? So like, let's see. The sophomore year, you had who was in that damn conference? Chris Thomas from Notre Dame. You had the young guys over at Villanova of Alan Ray and Randy Foy. Syracuse at Keem Warwick. The year before they had Carmelo. That was the year they won the national championship. And then it was a cat over there named Marcus Hill. Marcus, I think that's his name. I don't remember. He was a guard for St. John's. And he's probably one of the nicest guards I've ever seen. Yeah, he's a Maryland guy. 6'2", had braids, and he kind of played like AI, but more like he was more built and had a better jump shot than AI. He was not as much as a rhythm shooter, but he can get to a spot, raised. Like, dude was like cold, like super cold. So he was a tough check. But the hardest person I probably had to guard was Andre Barrett for Seton Hall.
That makes sense.
Wow.
Seton Hall.
Damn.
Yeah. Andre Barrett for sure.
Super fast,
smart, great in the pick and roll situation. He pick you up 94 feet if you wanted to, and just very, very smart, man. He could shoot. Yeah. He had the floater game.
Yeah, he did. He had a nice floater.
He had a nice floater game.
Yeah.
He's just like, you talk about like fast. He was super fast. Super fast, but Andre Barrett was definitely probably the toughest check I've had within the Big East. Okay. And then plus he had the green light, so you can shoot whenever you wanted to.
Which made it tough for you because you're like, bro, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, okay. There was a lot of good competition in those games, man. Like you talk about like Notre Dame, Pitt, Miami had a couple of guys. Let's see, Boston College was in it with Craig Smith, Jared Dudley. Sean Marshall, who else? Like the Big East was the Big East. Like St. John's had some guys.
Sure.
A cat named Showtime Hill. I think his name was like Daryl Showtime Hill.
Okay.
Showtime Hill. Yeah. He was a point guard. I think he was averaging like 19, 20 points a game, and he could shoot whenever he wanted to too. So you talk but he had a thing on a string, and he's a New Yorker, you know, like they like to showboat a little bit, got the handle. So like you get out on the island, you like, yo, where's my help?
Yeah.
Like, I'm standing that way. I need my help. So, but it was fun, man. That Big East, man, like every night you was just challenged, like challenged. There was no easy nights off. Like everybody was coming for everybody, man. So.
Nice, man.
Well, I got another question, a small question. Was there a conversation to get that starting position during the off season from your freshman to sophomore year, or it was just given to you, or did you have to beat somebody out?
It just happened because two guys ended up transferring and they didn't have one. So
it worked out.
Yeah. Both guards that were there before me, and they were 1 year older than me. They ended up transferring. One went to NC State, and the other one went to College of Charleston, and they both transferred. Okay. And so I guess Craig Estrick had enough faith in me to keep me and start me. So I mean, yeah,
it worked out. No, just wanted to know.
It worked out, man. It worked out. So but I'm never one to like run from competition. So even if they were still there, I still would have tried to compete for the the starting position.
Sure. But, right. Okay, I just wanted to know that.
Yeah.
Out of all the guys that you've got to meet through your connections with Georgetown, who would you say is like the person that you have the closest bond with?
Closest bond with. Well, to be honest, like a lot of like close friends, closest bond from like playing.
Or we just say like we don't have to say bond. We could just say like, who are you still in contact with?
I talked to Brandon still, Bowman. I talked to Brandon Bowman still. That's my guy for life. But probably Jeff Green. I talked to Jeff Green quite a bit.
Uncle Jeff.
Yeah, him and I talk pretty much every day. Him and another guy named John Wallace, who was my backcourt mate my junior and senior year. But yeah, I probably talked to those two the most, especially Jeff. I probably talked to Jeff the most. Yeah, that's my guy right there. That's my guy. Yeah, because him and I were roommates his freshman year on the road. So, you're on the road, you really don't do nothing. You go to shoot around, you go to practice, chill, and then go to games or whatever. And if you stay over, you guys have to stay over. So like he was my roommate. So him and I would sit there and talk the whole time. And I remember him coming on his visit. He did something. I was just like, hey, he's going to the NBA. It was like an amazing play. Like I forgot what he like took, like, how he'd be dunking off his one leg now, right? He did something like that. And this is when Jeff had braids, like he had straight backs. And he did something. He came down and just boomed that joint. I was just like, yeah, he's going to NBA.
Right then and there, you knew.
Yeah, I was like, he's going to the league. I don't know how we got him over here at Georgetown, but he's going to the league. I'm glad he's coming next season. But yeah, Jeff's my guy. Jeff is my guy.
That's nice, man. That's real. So talk about the end of your senior year at Georgetown and then preparing for the NBA draft, and then your name obviously not being called and the feeling you had and what your next move was.
Well, I kind of knew I wouldn't get drafted, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, I kind of knew I wouldn't, but the only thing I was hoping I would be able to get invited to Portsmouth, to like, potentially get, make a name and play really well and then try and go to the combine or something. But that never came either. So I was definitely disappointed at that. I was like, I thought I did enough my junior and senior year to make a case for myself to go to Portsmouth. And I had a great tournament too. Big East tournament and NCAA tournament. So I thought I was like, all right, cool. I'll go to Portsmouth. I do what I gotta do. And, hopefully let's get active. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to compete. But yeah, it never came. So I ended up signing with an agent. And I had three workouts. I worked out for the Lakers, Nets, and the Wizards. So I worked out for 3 teams, and they went well. I mean, the majority of the workouts was just like shooting and ball handling stuff, like coming off pick and roll, shoot floater, stand still, jump shot. They want to see your conditioning, and then like you play. It depends on how many people were in the workouts. I think for my Wizards one, it was like 6 of us, so we played 3-on-3. Okay. And then for like my Clipper one, it was about like maybe 10 of us, so we played 5s. Oh, wow. It was a lot of us. And then for my Nets one, it was probably like maybe 3 or 4 of us. And you do 1-on-1 full court or whatever, like king of the court type deal to see your conditioning, which I hate.
You don't like king of the court?
1-on-1 full court? That's a beast.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
That's a beast. King of the court is cool. The
Okay.
one-on-one full court is a beast.
Yeah, that's you got
Yeah,
to be ready for that.
exactly. Yeah, because they stick you down, one person on defense on that side, the person on the other side, and then like you go and you play against it, you missed, and the next person come back down. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
and if you get baskets, you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But yeah, just preparing for that moment was like pretty dope. It was a cool process. I'm not gonna lie. But I knew I wasn't gonna get drafted. But yeah, my main thing is I wanted to just at least go get invited to Portsmouth, and that just didn't happen. So that was a big letdown for myself and towards my ego. But didn't let it get the best of me. You
Right.
kind of you're just like, all right, I gotta find a different way. So
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta find a different way.
Did you immediately know that you wanted to possibly go overseas and play, or I just talk about that whole thing as
So
well?
I didn't even know that much about overseas basketball. Like during my whole like college thing, I didn't find out about it until my senior year actually. And one of the assistant coach, Sidney Johnson, he said he was one of the assistant coaches at Georgetown, and he sat in on like all my meetings, like because I had a good like rapport with him, and I trusted
Hmm.
him. And I would talk to him the most throughout the season, and so I trusted him the most. And he played overseas for about 7, 8 years in Italy. And so he was giving me the rundown, like, yeah, you go do this. All you got to do is stay professional, average about double digits, not even high double digits, just 10 points, and you can have a nice long career. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
So when those options started getting presented to me, I was like, I was open to it. I was like, all right, I want to continue to hoop. Um, Sucks it has to be Europe, but like I'm open to like the new experiences to see what life has to bring. So I ended up signing with a first league team in Germany in Braunschweig, and originally they offered me a 2-year deal, and I was like no, because what happens if I don't like it? But shit, hindsight, I wish I would have took a 2-year deal just because
Ah, yeah.
guarantee, for the next season. But no, when my first year getting over there, just the language barrier, that's pretty much it, man. The language barrier. And it's so weird to adjust to the program because you don't have school anymore. So,
Right.
you're used to a set schedule of like, okay, I have to get all my classes done before this time because we have practice at 4. And then, you have practice 4 to 7 when we practice 4 to 7:30. After that, you got homework, right? So when first get over there, like you're a pro, you're like, I don't even have class. What do I do with my time? Like, what do I do with my time? Okay, we had a 10 o'clock practice, right? Now we don't practice again until 6. What the hell am I going to do?
Wow. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you do 2-a-days a lot in Europe. So, just trying to find out what you're going to do through that time was the biggest thing. Like that and the language barrier, just trying to figure it out, like what you're gonna do with your time. But I had a couple good vets that like gave me some tips, like and things to do with my time. They were like, oh, you can check out a new restaurant, or go walk around and like look at the architecture, go to some museums or something like that. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that. And that's what I ended up doing. So kind of
Nice.
immersing myself within the culture. So yeah, that was fun. It was fun.
Nice, man.
How'd
Nice.
you like the style of play? Like, what was the biggest difference between overseas basketball and obviously basketball over here?
Uh, the European styles is way more team oriented than in the States. Like if you look at the NBA program, like a lot of it's 2 stars. Who's gonna get the ball? It's gonna be a lot of pick and roll action, a lot of ISO action. Europe, it's a lot of like swing, 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 cut, cut, pass, screen. Like it's a lot of like flowing and movement, and so it's not ball dominant at all.
Mm.
Like yeah, so that's a big thing. It's more physical, like surprising, like it's very physical. Like those refs like legit won't call a call unless like you break something.
Oh man,
You know, you go to the basket and the dude like break your arm or whatever, he'll be like, okay, that's a foul. Like, other than that, you're not getting a call.
We not getting no calls.
No, especially American. Nah.
Oh yeah, they like nah, bro.
Exactly. Because, like, I mean, we get a bad rap because they already think that we think we're the shit when we're
Right.
going over there. And, like, the world has put it as, like, Americans are the best at basketball.
Right.
You know? So they already have this preconceived notion like, nah, F that. You already think you're the shit. I'm not going to help you out. But yeah, it's very physical, very team oriented, and they're very like they're good X's and O's guys too. Very good X's and O's, and the defensive rotations are very on point too. I'd probably say those are like the biggest things that kind of stuck out to me. Oh, and they're very heavy on like the 3-point shot. So like, yeah, very heavy on the 3-point shot, and they're very like they also like want their guards to pick up full court. Which I'm like, I can't sustain that for
no
for 40 something minutes or whatever. I think it was like, yeah, can't sustain that.
It makes sense though.
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry, I can't do that the whole game, you know. But yeah, they want you to pick up full court, and then they want you to score, 15, 16 points. It's like, damn, it's pretty taxing. And then the 2-a-days. And then sometimes they'll do some like outlandish like training stuff. You'll be like, what does this do? Like, why are we doing this? Like, you're doing like all these little small micro movements. So, but you like initially I was like, what is this? But then you get over it and you become open-minded and like you just realize you're learning something else and putting it in your tool bag.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
You had a nice career over there too, huh?
Yeah. I played 4 years in Germany. I played a year in Macedonia, which was wild. Just because like Macedonia is in Eastern Europe by Serbia. And they're a little bit behind in the times, a little bit. But like overall, like the country is like a lot of the people there are friendly. Like super friendly, like very friendly, just giving like beautiful souls like of people, like whatever you need, like they'll do their best to like make it happen for you. The food is amazing. The food is absolutely amazing. I was the only black person in my city. So
wow.
Yeah. That was the first time. That was a first. And so everywhere I went, I was just getting stared at the whole time. Like literally like stop doing what they're doing just to stare as like walk by. But they'd ask questions like, yo, what are you doing here? Like,
yeah. I was gonna ask you like, how was that? Like I know, sometimes here we go to a different part of Los Angeles and we're like we get those stares, but to be the only one possibly that they've ever seen in person, like I know that had to take some time to get adjusted to.
Totally, man. I remember the first day I got there, it was like it was a couple days later we had to go to practice. So they showed me where the gym was. And like where my hotel was at, it was off this path. But the path that I needed to take to get to the gym was where all these restaurants and bars were at. And we had practice during the day and it was like a Saturday. And so everybody was outside. Like the weather was still nice in September. And so I'm like, oh shit. So I started walking and like I'm telling you, like all the chatter stopped.
Oh man.
People stopped drinking and eating food and just stared at me as I walked the whole path to the gym. And I was just like, I had my headphones in, but I had pressed pause just to like hear like, like the reactions and stuff like that. What they were gonna say. And that was just very uncomfortable, but it was funny at the same time. I'm like, damn, I'm really the only black person in the city, like not one. And I didn't have any teammates either. Like I was the only import. I was only American at the time, only import. And so luckily, another import came probably like 2 months later. So it was both of us, the only two black people in the whole city. And I remember we ran into we ran into some girl who was part of like the embassy, a woman that was part of the U.S. embassy, and she was there during for some conference or something like that. And I was like, "Yo, black person, how you doing?" Like, talk for a little bit. I was like, "Yeah, we're here playing basketball. Like, what do you do?" You know, like, so it felt good to have somebody else.
I believe it, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, they thought I was a gypsy. Some people thought I was a gypsy. Like the other gypsy people, my brother. I'm like, nah.
Don't do that, bro.
That's funny. What an experience.
Yeah,
wow. Man. What an experience.
Yeah, very funny, but very, very, very good experience. Very good people, and I still a couple people I still talk to from the country, and
oh, nice.
Still, yeah.
That's what's up. Wow.
So basketball is kind of I don't know exactly what year it was when you decided to look for other options, but why did you decide to go into acting?
So acting, like I took a couple acting classes in like middle school. I took some at Georgetown because they offered it, and just like, all right, I need to fill my time with something. So I took it, and I was like, this isn't that bad. And so it was probably the summer of 2010. I had just finished playing in the G League with Bakersfield, and one of my friends, Omar Wilkes, he was doing sports commercials. I saw him on like a Nike ad, and I was like, "Yo, how do you do that?" It was the Nike. It was a Nike Hyper Rise like commercial, like KD, Andre Iguodala, like they're like rapping a little bit, and he's in it. And I was just like, "Dog, that's kind of cool," because like Omar can hoop. He played at Cal, Kansas, like he was in Mickey D's. And so I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, how did you, like what'd you do?" He was like, "Oh man, I got this agent or whatever. You should hit him up." So I was like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna do that." So the first job I booked was a Pepsi spot, and it was with Will.I.am, and all they had me do was like dribble the basketball to the beat of like the music, and it was a Super Bowl ad. So I saw like how much you got paid for like not doing anything, really. And I was just like, that ain't bad. I was like, this is not bad. I was like, this is not bad. I got no stress on my body. I only put in 8 hours. I get like these little residual checks. This is not that bad. But it really like came to the forefront when it was 1 year I didn't get a job. It was like 2011 2000. Yeah, actually when I finished playing in G League, when I booked my first gig, I didn't get a job from 2010 until 2012 season. So I'm sitting at home, waiting or whatever, and nothing's popping up. But then I started doing more of the sports commercial stuff. So I started booking like AT&T, I did Citibank, I did a couple Nike spots, some Adidas spots, I did a Powerade spot. And I was just like, this isn't bad. So I started reading up more on it, like for the TV and film side, about everything you needed to do. And I took an acting class out here in LA, and I'm still working with the same guy that I met, 11 years ago. And so I took his class, and it was very therapeutic, to be honest. Like getting up there and kind of just like not being afraid to like be a fool, you know what I'm saying? Just to like let go, in like a safe environment. And just to bring like certain emotions that you didn't know that you had and bring it to like the particular exercise that you had. And you're like, oh shit, like being vulnerable on stage. And like it actually like activated more of my hearing, because acting is a lot of it like listening and, reacting in like the most like authentic way possible, So that's basically how I started on the whole acting path. I found it very therapeutic, and I always like enjoyed movies and TV. And so I was just like, all right, when I'm done, like this is something I want to like tap into when I finally stop hooping. So.
And talk about the similarities between auditioning and basketball tryouts, if there are any at all.
There's a lot, to be honest. Surprisingly, Because there's a lot of improv that happens, like stuff that happens on the fly. Same thing with basketball, like, yeah, coach may draw up something, but they throw out a different defense. You got to like shift and do something different, or the big rotate over quickly. You're like, oh shit, switch hands, stuff like that. So when you get in your auditions, like you have to remember, like it's your time. You do what you're supposed to, but the same thing is like preparation too. You want to be prepared for the moment. So if anything happens, you can flip on a dime, like the ins and outs. Just like I said, for basketball, position 1 through 5 and where they're supposed to go as a point guard. So if somebody's out of place, you'd be like, yo, nah, you're supposed to be over there. Like, you could be a conductor and know the ins and outs. And then that's when you can do the improv, because the foundation, the grounds, you've put in the work. And so it's the same thing for auditions, man, and acting, just because it's TV and film isn't live, it's all like, rehearsed and stuff like that. But like I did a stage play, and that felt the most like authentic and equatable to playing basketball, because it was just live, fast paced, boom, 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 boom. We did this, I got this action. It was just like flowing like the whole time. And then when I was done, I was just like, man, that's a damn adrenaline rush. I like that. Like, so yeah, it's cool. So that's part, like being on stage and theater is like the most like thing that relates to like actual like basketball stuff, because it's a crowd, the lights are there, like, and you got your other players, and you're all playing off of each other the whole time. Like you're playing off of putting it. Yeah, you're all playing off of each other the whole time. And also you got to know your shit, because it's no like cut, you know what I'm saying? Like back to one, it's like it's live. So if you don't know your line, like the audience gonna pick up on it, they gonna pick up on it, but hopefully your teammates got your back and they can throw you that. So it's that's the most thing you can kind of equate it to.
Nice. So you talked about a lot of theater, and then like you said, like if you mess up there, you just kind of keep it rolling. Like it's not like you don't want to get caught in the headlights. You got to keep it rolling, like you said, and helping your teammates. Whereas on a series, if you mess up, they're like, cut.
Yeah.
It's like a timeout. Like, exactly. Hey, you got to go. It's over. Yeah. So like talk about your experience on Better Call Saul.
So Better Call Saul, man, I'm a big fan of Breaking Bad, and so I was familiar with the character, and I knew they were coming out with a TV show, a spinoff of it. And to be honest, I never watched the show, but I knew the character. But everything, I sent in a self tape for the role of a lawyer, who the lady's name is Kim Wexler. It was to be her associate. And she's like one of the leads. She's like the second lead. And so I ended up booking a job. I had no idea where it filmed. My agent was like, yo, you booked the job. You got to be in New Mexico on this date. And I was like, this shit shoots in New Mexico? I was like, wow, full circle, right?
I was just about to say that.
My first acting gig in the first place I signed to go to college that I originally wanted to sign was in New Mexico, right?
Yep.
Same place, Albuquerque. So I flew to New Mexico, and we had like we had a rehearsal with the lady that plays Kim Wexler. Her name's Ray Seahorn, and in our hotel, and she calls like the other two people that she's gonna be in the scene with, me and another lady named Amy, and we go down and we rehearse the scene, and Ray is like giving us the game, like, don't worry about it. This is gonna be all right. Great. The cast and crew are going to do the best they can to make, like, give you the best opportunity to succeed and show your best work. So don't feel nervous. And I was like, wait, this is my first TV gig. They're like, what? I was like, yeah. So like, y'all gotta like, y'all have to like work with me a little bit. Like I don't know what to expect, man. So, but I get on set. Bob Odenkirk is there. Met him, who plays Saul. And then we just get into the scene, and it was kind of like basketball. Like once the ball's thrown up, like all the nerves go out of the way, So once they hit, like rolling, like it was the same thing. Like my nerves went out of the window, just like I was prepared for it, and like my intuition and all that type of stuff like just kicked in. It started to be second nature, and like my habits and stuff that I like trained for that particular like role and that scene like just kicked in, and I just remembered the training, and so I was on like autopilot. So
Oh,
yeah, so it was kind of interesting like how like preparation, you know, keeps you prepared pretty much. Like you don't have to think about it because you already did the work, and now you just got to trust yourself and don't overthink it. So yeah, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Great cast, great crew. Everybody was very like she said before, was gonna do the best to pull out your best work. And you know, like
yeah.
the director would come over and be like, hey, try it this way. And then make sure you turn your face this way so we can get you on camera, you know, stuff like that. And like I'm still so new that I didn't know the different tricks and like angles to like get more facial recognition and all that type of stuff. So I'm learning all this stuff on the fly and asking questions. So it was dope. It was a great experience, man. I'm forever grateful for that. That was amazing experience, and such a safe space too. And I heard like a lot of people like for their first jobs is not like that.
I was
So
just about to say, dude, because a lot of people, I mean, I'm familiar with it. A lot of people start off as extras, so
mhm,
like you're in the background and you kind of get to watch what the main cast is doing, and then you kind of like over a bunch of jobs, like you kind of understand all that. But you, sir,
right,
you get to go right in and be a guest star on the series that's a part of one of the greatest series of TV history.
right, yeah, yeah. It was I, like kind of leapfrogged a little bit.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
I kind of leapfrogged a little bit, but like I said, I'm glad it was a safe space, and everybody was just very nice. And because like I said, like a lot of people said, nah, for the like
Nah,
some
it
TV gigs
helped.
aren't going
It
to be as good as like this one, so you kind of like are spoiled a little bit, you know. So, but it was fun, man. It was fun. It was fun.
nice.
And then you continue to leapfrog because now you get a job on Space Jam: New Legacy. So
Right.
talk about your role as the basketball tech advisor and what that consists of, and how'd you even get the job? I mean, you just keep leapfrogging. Now you're behind the scenes. Let's talk about that.
Right. Man. So actually, the sports coordinator Mike Fisher, he's done like so many like sports movies. He's done Remember the Titans. He did Glory Road, Blind Side. He did all the sports coordinator for Friday Night Lights, the TV. I mean, not
Serious.
the TV, the movie with
Okay.
Derek. So he did that, but he has his resume is like crazy. And he does a lot of the Nike spots that you see too, with like LeBron and Kobe Bryant and all those guys, Jordan Nats. But you know, I had done quite a few big gigs with him before, like working as as talent. And so he asked me one day, he was like, "I got this Space Jam movie coming up with LeBron. Do you want to be my assistant?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course."
No brainer.
Right. And I never really kind of knew exactly what he did, you know, like I knew he just like set up stuff or whatever, but basically the sports coordinator, you know, those scenes that you see in sports movies, they need somebody to make the action look as real as possible.
Okay.
Um, and so that's basically the job of the sports coordinator, to get everybody and get actually like realistic people that know what they're doing on set, and to make the action look as believable as possible, you know? So, um, and that's pretty much what the sports coordinator does. And they work in tandem with the director to try and get the best possible shots. And of course, they bounce ideas off of each other. But you know, like a majority of Hollywood, I hate to say it, they're not familiar with sports like that. Like,
No, no.
so you know, you start speaking the language, and they're like, okay, that sounds good. Can we see it? You know, like.
Yeah.
Right, and it could be the worst play, and I'm like, "Oh, that looks amazing," and you just, you know, so that's why you see some movies, you be like, "Yo, that would never happen."
Right.
I
Right.
always think back to like Teen Wolf, as a kid watching. I'm like, how? Like he shot it from the corner and it banked in. Like, no, that is not happening, bro.
Don't pick on Michael J. Fox. Let him live, okay? You could have picked a different movie.
Right.
Let him live.
Y'all remember Hang Time from
Oh
Yeah, with
show,
Anthony Anderson, right?
Yeah, with Anthony Anderson. You'd be like, bro, like what?
horrible.
Exactly. So, but that's the job of the sports coordinator, is to make it look as authentic as possible. So he asked me if I wanted to work on Space Jam with him, and I said, sure, no problem. So it was a 3-month commitment, and we held auditions for all the mocap players.
Nice.
Of the mocap players of the people that were going to be the Monstars, or the Goons. That's what they're calling them. And so we had to have trials for people that kind of resembled Anthony Davis, height and likeness or whatever. Anthony Davis, Diana Taurasi, Nneka Ogwumike, Damian Lillard, and Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
And so we held auditions, and I was basically like putting people through workouts and drills and stuff like that right there, 2 days for 2 days. So like, and the director and stuff is all out there, and the production and stuff is just like, okay, we like these people. So they landed on the people that they chose for the mocap players, and then we had to find Looney Tunes players, which is like a lot of the like girls. We use girls because they're the smallest women, because they're small and equivalents like height wise with tunes. So, but all the tunes that were the women could hoop. Like they really could hoop. Like some of them play like in the beautiful basketball league, in the women's Drew league, and then like 2 of them played at UCLA women's basketball team, and actually like one played for the Atlanta Dream. So like they actually knew what they were doing, which was great. So like everybody we chose actually knew how to play basketball, so it wasn't foreign language at all when we were running them through sets, when we were doing our rehearsals and practice and training camp and stuff. So it was very seamless and easy to work with them. And then I got appointed the job of training the second lead. Well, yeah, I'll give him the second lead. His name's CJ, so he's going to be playing LeBron's son in the movie. So they wanted me to train him for like a couple of weeks just to shake some rust off or whatever. So that was dope. And then we were on Warner Brother lot the whole time for like 60 days, just hammering out just different scenes. The director, Malcolm Lee, who's a Georgetown guy and Spike Lee's cousin, he's done The Best Man, Roll Bounce, and a couple other films. He's a Georgetown.
Yeah, I've seen his name in a couple movies, right?
Yeah. He's a Georgetown guy, so it was good to like see him and connect with him and talk to him, and so
all comes back full force. So.
Right?
Yeah, I was about to say it's full circle with you, man.
Full circle, man. So it was a great experience. I learned a lot, networked a lot, and also was able to like sit down and talk to like one of my favorite actors, Don Cheadle, because he's
not saying.
Yeah, one of my favorite actors. So like talking to him, I was able to talk to him and ask him for some advice and pointers and stuff on like the whole acting situation and things. And it was just dope. Like, the downtime, Don Cheadle would be playing spades with everybody. Like it was super cool. He talks a lot of shit, but it was like, yeah, he does. But it was cool, man. LeBron would be over there playing spades. Like, so it was dope, man. It was just an overall, like, dope, like, cool, like, experience. Everybody was, like, very kind. Everybody was very kind, very professional. And so, yeah, I'm thankful for that. And now it's spawned into, like, me getting another gig, working underneath Spring Hill's company. They're doing a movie called Resball. And so I'm working on that, and that's a high school basketball movie based on that takes place on a Native American reservation. So I'm gonna be doing the basketball. I'm gonna be the lead guy on that one. So yeah, man.
You mean the lead guy as far as behind the scenes, or acting wise?
No, I'm gonna be the lead sports coordinator. So I'm gonna be the lead like head guy. So I got my own little like.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, congrats, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy how you go overseas and you're wondering how they're putting you through these 2-a-day training, and you're like, what workout is this? And now you're putting people through these 2-a-days in movies. So they're looking at you like, what do you have me do? Like I thought I
Right.
just asked. No, it's more to it. So it's funny.
Right.
Like he said, full circle. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And just
Pretty cool.
taking things that you've learned over your life and just putting it like in your little tool bag, eventually you may need to use it, So
That's dope. That's really dope.
So what do you like more now that you've been able to be in front of the camera and behind the camera? I mean, it seems like you're starting to have a career behind the camera now too. So how are you going to juggle that moving forward?
man, it's tough. It's tough. I kind of like both. I more so like the in front of the camera, but I do like because you get creative. You can be creative and you play a lot of just different stuff and tap into a lot of different emotions and you play different characters and things. So I like the in front of the camera stuff, but I do like the sports coordinating thing. So if a job pops up, and let's say like it's a commercial, whatever, like, yeah, I'm gonna take it. It's one day or whatever.
Yeah.
If nothing's popping off like acting wise, sure, I'll go do a movie for 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, in it, I still got to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? And it's still a resume builder, and you just kind of never know who you may meet. I might meet a director on there and be like, oh, so what do you really do? Like, what do you really want to do? Oh, I'm an actor, whatever. I've done this, and that. I'm like, oh, huh. You never know. Maybe the next job they hire you to be in front of the camera as an actor. So I just always try and look at it as like an opportunity to network as much as possible while still doing the work. With the sports coordinator thing, you can be very creative too. You still have a hand on like the development of the project. It's just in a different way. It may not be through acting, but it can be done through the coordinating and stuff like that. Like that's your stamp. You know what I'm saying? It's like I did the basketball stuff on that movie. So. Yeah, like just think about the guy that did it for Hoosiers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The basketball movie, or Glory Road, like the action for it, or He Got Game. Like,
there you go.
Yeah,
talk
exactly.
about it.
Like those basketball scenes are kind of memorable, so you can leave your stake on that.
You didn't say above the rim. What you know?
Oh man, my bad. Hey, my bad, Kyle Watson. My bad, man.
I'm just trying to check, man. That's my favorite movie.
Above the rim is classic.
His name is Kyle. Yeah. It's a lot that goes in. I just didn't go to Georgetown. So let me ask you this. So you worked on Space Jam.
Yeah.
Who would Ashanti Cook Space Jam and why? It could be any player from the 80s, 90s, whenever. Who would you Space Jam?
Who would I Space Jam?
Whose powers would you take?
Damn.
Yeah, we put you on the spot, see? Yeah.
And that's tough. Who would I Space Jam?
Yes, sir. You repeating the question is not helping either.
I know. I'm trying to think. Buy myself a little time.
I know.
I'd probably say Kevin Durant.
Okay.
I take his powers.
You just think, and why? Just because of the talent that he has?
Hey, that dude is absolutely like the most unguardable person I've probably ever seen hoop. Like, because he can do anything and everything. Is 7 foot tall, and he's smooth too, though. Like
smooth game.
Smooth. He got a handle. He got a mid range. He can post you up. He can turn over both shoulders. He plays defense. He's a good weak side rotation defender. He has a little bit of grit to him too. He doesn't shy away from the moment. He's been in clutch situations and he thrives in it. And he can shoot from deep. Bounce. He's a good catch and shoot shooter. He doesn't force anything. Every time he scores, it's always in the flow of the offense. It's never like ISO 101. I mean, he'll get into that every once in a while. But the majority of his stuff is like within the flow of the game, man. And he's smart, too. He has a high basketball IQ. So, it would definitely be him.
Okay. All right.
That's a great pick, bro.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Nobody's mad about that one.
He's tough, man. He's tough. I was very sad that they lost, though. I was like, man, I wanted to go to the finals.
I know it's your guy, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff over there. I'm like, yo, Eastern Conference Finals, here I come. I'm going to go to the game. But
they'll be back. Injuries, just, they'll be back. They're strong.
They should run it back? You think they should run it back? Same team?
With the same squad?
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I mean, I know they're not going to get to the have Spencer because
Mm,
I don't know if the money is going to be there for him. But yeah, why not?
true.
I and we had a conversation yesterday because we got another podcast. But if they get Ashanti a few more role players, that would help. Guys that just know, like Uncle Jeff is a good guy that knows his role. He's not going outside of that. But if you get guys that are just names and they trying to, no disrespect to Blake Griffin because I think he played well, but I feel like he was trying to get his name back, instead of just knowing his role.
Got you.
Because you got KD and Kyrie, and James Harden. You just get pieces. That's all.
Got it. Some good role guys.
I think that's what
I was gonna say, and we need Jeff to stay on one team. I don't know why the league they keep letting this guy shuffle around. Like every team he's played on, he has been a significant part of their success, and I don't understand. Like me and you talked about this, Ashanti, on Instagram.
Right.
But I don't understand it, man. He got to. I hope he gets to stay there.
Yeah. I hope so too. He seems to like the city too. Just the culture with the Nets. They're putting they put the best interests at heart with everything. And he likes New York. So like
Nice.
New York is. I mean, who doesn't like New York? New York is just that market. You're able to just tap into so many different things, man. Just outside of basketball, and build like a life outside of basketball, post basketball. So. Yeah. He had a good time over there in Brooklyn, and plus, he's familiar with KD and James. They played together at OKC. Him and KD grew up together, so we'll see. But yeah, he needs to stop bouncing around. Hopefully, he can sign a PE or something there, or something like that.
Yeah, man, come on.
I think they're gonna keep him. They should. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so.
But rounding out the podcast, we wanted to. I know you had mentioned earlier about what you have coming up next, but we just wanted to give you a little time to let the people know, what's coming up for you, and where they can follow you.
Oh, all right, cool. Got a couple things happening. I have the Native American Reservation movie that I'm doing. Currently writing a TV show with a friend of mine. What else? I'm working on 2 documentaries, one based on actually Westchester. So,
Bro,
yeah. So I'm working on that, and then another one about the Georgetown basketball culture.
okay.
The whole thing, just outside of Coach Thompson, Coach Thompson and just the after effect that it had, just the culture and what he represented towards African American society. The fashion, how most hip hop artists were wearing, the Georgetown, paraphernalia and the starter jackets. They don't even get that damn hot. I mean, cold out here in LA, but you still wore you got the starter jacket. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yep.
Right. So working on that. And then shooting house party coming up.
Nice.
Yeah.
My cousin's the director of that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Look at that plug.
That's
Look at that plug.
Okay. Calmatic.
Calmatic. Yeah.
All right, man. Hey. Yeah.
Just tell them when you on set, let them know.
Yeah, I will. I'm
Look at that.
doing a basketball scene for them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm doing a basketball scene for them. So I got some things happening down the pipeline, man. You can find me on Instagram, Ashanti_Cook, and that's all I have.
Well, that's a lot. You're pretty busy. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm having the socials. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Before we let you go, we have a game called 24 Seconds Shot Clock Rapid Fire.
All right.
And so I'm going to ask you a series of questions. It's just either red or blue, and you would just pick one. Nothing crazy.
All right.
So I'm going to just ask you these questions. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 87 Lakers or 01 Lakers?
01.
Ice Cube or Snoop Dogg?
Snoop.
Nick Van Exel or Eddie Jones?
I gotta go Eddie.
Blue Chips or Space Jam?
Space Jam.
You were a little hesitant there. Nike Cortez or Chuck Taylors?
Ooh. I gotta go Chuck's.
Okay. Magic Mountain or Knott's Berry Farm?
Magic Mountain.
Jeans or sweats?
Sweats.
Staples Center or Great Western Forum?
Great Western Forum.
Martin or Fresh Prince?
I'm a Fresh Prince guy.
Me too. Lamar Odom or Darius Miles?
LO, the goods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather live in the U.S. or in Europe?
Europe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather play on the hardwood or outdoors?
Hardwood. Better on your knees.
Yeah.
Westchester or Georgetown?
Oh. I gotta go my Comets, Westchester.
All right. And we round it out with hooping or acting.
Damn, that's tough. I'm gonna say hooping, man. I'm gonna say hooping. I like hooping.
Okay. All right, man. Well, you did well with our rapid fire, man. We appreciate that.
Appreciate it. That was fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it, man. We thank you so much for being our first guest on our new Shoot for Teams podcast. We thank you. It was great. It was a great hour and 15 minutes or whatever it was. Storytelling. Hopefully, we'll have you back. You have more projects on the way, so hopefully we'll have you on for round 2 or whatever.
All right, cool. Yeah, I definitely would love to come back. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Nah, man.
We
We got to get the Inglewood native in there, man.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Ashanti Cook, thank you again for being on the podcast. Old Man Ross signing off.
And I'm D Hill, again, the gift card bandit.
And you already know the tagline, spread love and not hate.
Get in the gym, shoot some jumpers, at least about 8.
Peace. Thank y'all for being here.